Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. This new video here is based on taxes and services. It's not so much that I figure that when I get to Congress, if I ever get to Congress, I'd be able to change the complete tax code or be able to go out and redistribute services in a different way they are now. I know that's even difficult for presidents, much less one person that's running for Congress. But the main thing I wanted to do was to basically present my view of things the way I think things should be so people won't misconstrue what they think is something that I believe in when probably it's not. If you go to nixforcongress.com, there's a couple of graphs that are available underneath this video. Um, they're divvied out by below 100,000 and above 100,000. It's only individual. I didn't talk about married couples or couples in general because that would been it's made a lot more sense just to speak first off about individuals. Obviously, married couples would have better savings, better everything, um, and couples in general. Now, one of the things I wanted to actually get onto was how my tax system works. It's basically based on lowering taxes, creating a smaller, more effective government that leads to benefiting the quality of life of all individuals. It works a lot different in the current system if you notice it. Some of the different things, let me go over this. It basically plans to end welfare capitalism. Instead of basically saying you're rewarded for doing less, we reward you for doing more. We provide services to regular people in lieu of them actually having to get those services through outside sources. So instead of basically them having, say, earn $35,000 for an individual, be taxed $7,000 and have to go spend all money on, deductibles and insurance. Like last year, I spent over $8,000 in deductibles and insurance. Go try to figure that one out, but I did. Thank you, United Healthcare. Um, then tying that to their wages, and then tying, maybe even daycare. Say if they're in a daycare program, then tying that to their wages. We actually offer services so that it basically tells people don't just say, I'm going to quit my job because I can't afford daycare, or I'm going to quit my job because I'm going to lose government benefits. It tells people stay at your work, keep trying to strive to go forward, keep trying to make your life better, and the government will be there to help you basically take care of all these little problems that come up along the way. And one of the main ways we can actually pay for that is, but instead of telling people to say, here's a check to stay at home, we say, here's a check to do work. And we do that through a full employment program. Basically, the government offers full employment. It says, look, there's a lot of different jobs out there we need done. Instead of just sending you a check to do nothing, we'll send you a check to do a job. And if you don't want to do a job, you're going to get less services, not more services than those who work. That is a really big important issue to it. You need full employment if you're going to end welfare capitalism. You need somewhere where the government makes a program kind of like WPA or CCC, and the Roosevelt issued, and they go out there and hire people. And they basically tell them, look, we're not going to pay you to do nothing. We're going to pay you to do something. And that's my whole argument about supporting the workers, not the shirkers. Individuals that want to work will work. And the problem about actually keeping people under this welfare capitalism is that they become unskilled, they're uneducated, and generation after generation goes on the same line and same path of basically accepting this form of welfare capitalism. And it's ruined many people's lives. Instead of making them productive members of society, it's made them basically recipients to society and made struggles much harder for individuals that would normally be giving individuals think, well, why do I want to have the government keep my money so that it can just go pay for people not to do anything? We need to change that. That whole system needs to completely change. And that's why you actually see in the graph from people that make 20,000 to 75,000 receive 100% of all services that are offered. Now, this doesn't mean that, that people that are lower than that, I actually show them the level is 10,000, it's like a 50%, and at zero, it's 25%, and at 15,000, 75%. It doesn't mean that they're going to have to pay 75%. Some programs will be fully paid, and that it doesn't matter if you're at 100% or 75%, you're still going to get the program. Other programs, yeah, you'll have a reduction in it. And what are some of the services offered? Well, some of the services I believe in help the nation build and help quality of life build, you can actually put together are services like mobile hospital ambulance units. These are hospital ambulance units that go out there that actually have doctors and surgeons on there that actually can stop the ambulance vehicle and can actually perform surgery on the way to the hospital. But the main thing is, that's a really good plan that actually helps people. It would be much more beneficial than our current just so said ambulance service that actually just takes you from one spot and hopes you're going to live all the way to getting down there. But to do this, we also need another program that I said earlier we need. It's Medicare for everyone. We need to have health care for everyone, but basically under the encompassing Medicare umbrella that we expand Medicare to cover everyone. And why? Because we are all citizens of this country. We pay taxes into this government. We pay taxes for too long not to get any of these services. So that's one of the other things you actually need. That's a service. Now, see, a service like Medicare would go across the board. Whether you make $5 a year, or you make $5 million a year, it'd be available to everyone. But stuff like medical hospital ambulance, that might be available. Maybe, if you're only paying 25%, you get to pay a percentage of the cost involved in that. But there's a lot of different ways to actually cover that. Services are not based on everybody receives a lot of these services at a free cost, and then if you have 25%, you got to pay 75%. No, there might be some services denied you because if you're not working, then you can actually support daycare. Now that's another thing. We would have to support your daycare, so then that takes out a large percentage of their services available to you. So when I talk about 0 to 100% on services, I mean the services that in different aspects. Some of them, like it says, 5% might be just the Medicare and stuff, and you can't get rid of it. It's not going to be based on pricing. It's going to be an all or nothing thing. You either get it all or you don't get any of it. Under Medicare, you'd get it all. Everybody would get it all. But under like daycare could be a thing where if you're at 75%, you have to put in 25% of the cost. Or, you're at 25%, you lose the entire program. So that's what the services is, and that's what the percentage towards services are. So if there's any confusion with that, I hope I resolved it because the services are based on how much or how many services are offered, and that's the percentages. So basically, we move the services being high at the $0 amount to being low at the $20,000 amount to nothing, basically at the 20,000 to being high at $20,000 amount all the way to $75,000, and they start dropping off and people start paying taxes. And how does the tax system work? Well, until you get to $75,000 a year as an individual, you don't pay anything. And at that point, you only pay 10% taxes, just like the 1913 tax. The original tax was based on higher income individuals. It said anybody over $5,000 paid, and it went straight up at a progressively larger percentages per pay. You got more money, you got more income, it went straight up. Not this bell curve effect where you pay less the more you make. It's nothing like that, and that's why I want to keep it just going straight, pretty much even level. After $75,000, 10% from there. Then eventually, if you see the other links, it shows you exactly how much it goes up per bracket. So if you're under $75,000 under my plan, you wouldn't pay anything because it makes no sense for us to offer you services, say for instance $7,000 worth of services like daycare or this, that, or the other, and then charge you $7,000 in taxes. It's completely idiotic that way. So that's my main argument on that. So hopefully you got a better understanding of where I'm coming on the tax system and where I'm coming on my services. Now, last question, last thing I want to actually go over is that services are available for everyone. Doesn't matter, even the extremely rich, but it's available in less percentages. You'll see there's a drop off. The more you pay in taxes, the more drop off in percentage of services you can receive or how much services are going to be available to you that are completely free. Now, how will you pay for this? That's a good argument. How will I pay for this? Well, partly by raising taxes on the super rich. Instead of them just basically being paid like investments, capital gains tax 15%, their entire income, no matter how they receive this income, exactly once you get to 1 million would be 50%, and then it would stay stagnant from then after $1 million received a year. At $700,000, it's 35%, and then it goes down to all the way to 10% at $75,000 as shown on the graphs and the charts. The other thing is by ending corporate welfare, by stop giving money to companies, stop giving out these bailouts, stop giving 0% interest loans, and ending welfare projects like I talked about the other day that benefit the rich. These welfare projects, that $2 million check that I was talking about that went to an Apple executive for his farm that didn't go well, that was a check. That was real money. That's welfare for the rich. We got to stop that. We got to cut that out. But a big thing is, and this is supported by Ron Paul and a lot of other people, is decrease of 50% of military spending. We need to nation build this country, stop building Iraq, stop building Afghanistan, and come back here and start working on this country. And until we build up this country, then we can start building other countries or do anything else we want. But I say focus on the United States first. Let's get this done. Let's change this economy. And that's the way I actually propose my tax structure and services available to individuals based on income. Thank you.